Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Lick him up, lick him up, lick him up. So we're going to be reviewing, I said, the only setup I've taken for this week, which is NZD USD. Can't remember if it was Monday. I don't even know what dates we are in currently. I'm just brain dead. So it was all good. So now notes is quite easy. It wasn't something complex. So it wasn't something complex. So but note, I've already done my OCT analysis. I've already done my volume analysis. So those already predicted my bias for the week, which was the only pair that was valid for me to trade was NZD USD. Like I told you in the last video that I trade a couple of pairs. I trade like 6 pairs, but it has to be validated, and if it's not validated, then I don't trade. So if NZD USD wasn't validated, that means basically being validated means all other signals are telling me, oh, price is going what direction. So treasuries told me, okay, price is most likely going to be bearish. OCT gave the same signal, and volume gave the same sell signal. So I was like, okay, so, and after that it's easy. Like I said, once you've gotten your bias, it's easy to get in on the trade. It's not difficult anymore. Like literally you could have gotten in anywhere. This was on Monday. You could have gotten in anywhere and still catch, and this is a kind of a deep pullback. I don't know if this bearishness is going to continue, because sometimes my bias can be wrong. So my bias might be bearish and price goes bullish, right? But then again, if there is no signal to get in, I don't get stopped out. You see, that's why I do a little bit of technical, which is, remember, the only reason I would enter a trade is if a zone, this zone, some people call it breaker block. I don't know where they got those names from. I don't know. I'm old school. So from this zone, boom, we had our first touch. We had a very good reaction. Price came back, printed a bearish engulfing. You see, I use old words. I'm old school. I don't mess with the new words or whatever. So you could have gotten in here, or you could have gotten in right here. But I got in here, and my stop was just right above here, and I aimed for 1 to 2, right? This was maybe one of the easiest trades that I've taken in like 2 months, because it's just straightforward. OCT said sell, volume said sell, and treasuries told me to sell, right? I came, I looked for a zone from the previous week where price have already bounced. This was last week Wednesday. This was on Thursday where price bounced. I was waiting for it to bounce again, finish. Like that's literally it. Like that's literally it. Now you could have said, oh, okay, this was on Friday, so this was on Sunday. So you could have said this was a reaction, but this reaction is not deep. You're not going to compare this reaction to this reaction. This reaction is more juicy, if you would say, lick him up, and price came back, right? And there's no depth to it. This is just massive price action, and I don't think there was an engulfing either. So I don't think there was even an engulfing for an entry. So that was so invalid. Price came here, gave the entry, and voila, and that happened. And my point is still this, like, getting your bias, which is the direction of price, is more important than your entry. Most people are focused on, how am I going to get the best entry? How am I going to get this? How am I going to get that, right? But like, how am I going to get in at a point where I can use 2 pip stop? This is a 24 pip on an NZD USD trade. NZD USD is not a volatile pair, so you can use like 10 pips, but some people still want to use 2 pips, and that's the reason. Like, I've done this, I've been here for 6 years, and I'll tell you, I've only been profitable for like 5 months, and I'm still taking it slow because I've come to the realization it's a journey. Like, most people think they've come to the realization that, it's a journey. It's not. You're not trying to get there and stop. You're trying to do it for as long as you can, right? As long as you have eyes that can see the chart, you still want to keep on doing it. And if that's true, you have to create an environment where it's easy for you to do it. It's easy for you to do it. So you don't want to create an environment where I used a 10 pip stop, I get tagged out, price drops. Guess what? Now I'm vexed. Now I'm emotional. Now I start seeing things that are not there, right? I start saying, this was one touch. I start calling things like this: price reaction, then another reaction. Yes, price went, but this is definitely not a trade. But if you were emotional, you will want to take this as a trade because you won't care anymore. You would go on tilt, and I think that's the biggest thing out there, going on tilt, and most people are not even talking about it. Most people only know about capital. Like, if I lose my capital, I won't be able to trade anymore. But most people don't realize that if you lose your mental capital, you won't be able to trade. Any trade you take will be a loss, literally. Even when you are supposed to get a win, you do something this stupid. Say you just come from taking 3 losses in a row, which is normal by the way. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens. You are going to have months where you have 4 losses in a row. It's going to happen, and saying it doesn't happen is trying to say you are God, because you are not. Trust me, if you were, you'd probably be living in heaven. So lick him up. So, like, doing 3 losses in a row, and you come here and you are taking you want to make it a 1 to 4. So after taking the 1 to 4, boom, you'll be at +1, right? But like, that's stupid. And I've done these things. Like, I've made all these mistakes. I've made all these mistakes. There is a way that I respect my mental capital in such a way that the Euro USD that I was on for the last episode was a loss, right? But guess what I did? Immediately I took 1 loss. I cut my risk by half. So I was risking 1%, right? Before, like, say I was risking 1% before. Now I've split my risk in half, and I'm risking 0.5. Right? The reason I do that is because I want to create a losing streak. Starts with 1 loss. A losing streak. I'm going to say that again. A losing streak starts with 1 loss, and if you are dumb enough to think that, I can go through a losing streak, keep risk at the same, and come out alive, you're a dumb fool. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I hate using such harsh words. I like saying fuck a lot, but I hate calling people fools and idiots, because nobody's really a fool, right? But in this case, I would say you are a fool, because the goal while going through a losing streak shouldn't be to make my profit back or to get back to break even. it should be I shouldn't lose my mental capital. Because once you lose your mental capital and you go into tilt, when going into tilt is a stage where you really don't care anymore. You don't care that much about trading anymore. Like you've taken 3 losses in a row, or you've taken 4 losses in a row at a fixed risk. Say on the norms you risk 1% per trade, and most of you don't. Most of you risk 5, and I think that's stupid, right? So say on the norms you risk 5% in a trade. You take 4 losses in a row, or you even risk 2% and you take 4 losses in a row, or 5 losses in a row. Now that's 10% of your account. Now understand, most people think they have to lose half of their accounts to go into tilt. That's to get to a point where they really don't care anymore. They don't analyze as much. They don't go into details as much. They don't execute well anymore. Like they just become nonchalant about it, right? I will tell you, it only takes me, right? If I have like say $1,000, which I don't, obviously, I only have to lose 50 on top for me not to care anymore. That's how much I can go on tilt. And I have a rule: humans are more alike than they are not alike. So if I am like that, there is a high probability that you are too, right? People like to think, oh, I'm special, I'm different. Yes, we are all special in our own ways, but when it comes to emotions, these things that are going to get me angry are going to get you angry. The things that are going to get me sad are going to get you sad. Like if you lose your dad and you get sad, there is a high probability if I lose my dad, I'm going to get sad too. So why do you think that we don't have the same behavior here too? I'm telling you, if I lose 5% of my account, I don't care anymore. Like I just want to increase risk and not care about the account. And I've done this countless of times. Like I've been there, I've done this, I've lost, I've given up. And the only thing that saves me now, because I think it was March was a tough month for me. March is always a tough month for me, and to an extent I think I just want to stop trading March. So for March I started with a win, which was good, but then I had 5 losses in a row. Now to you might say, oh, you don't know how to trade, oh you don't know how to trade, oh blah, blah. Guess what? The best traders that I've studied, they take 5-6 losses in a row. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens. It might happen twice a year. It might happen 3 times a year, where you just have these very bad moments in your trading, right? And the only thing that saved me, and I didn't go on tilt, like it didn't get to a point where I didn't care anymore. It didn't get to that point, because after the first loss, I took my risk to half. And I have that rule, like it's a rule. That was why for my Euro USD trade, I lose -1. Here, I was using half risk, so my 2 arrow was now 1 arrow, right? It was now 1%, right? Now, for most of you, you'll be like, oh, you should have made back what you made, what you lost. You should have made back what you lost and have +1. Listen, I've been there, I've thought that way. It doesn't work that way. When it comes to trading, you can't eat your cake and have it. In order for you to protect yourself, you have to be willing to take less. If you are not willing to do that, just don't do it. Just quit. Go find. And there's nothing wrong with finding a job. Most people think, I have a job currently. I fucking have a job. And it helps me be profitable because it doesn't put weight on my trading. I don't have to say, oh, I have to make the money for my rent, or I have to, like, the money I make from trading, I literally waste it, right? The $10, $20 that I make, right? I literally take that money and I use it to buy food. Now you might say, oh, that's not a lot of money. Trust me, from where I'm from, spending $10, which is like 15K on food in a day, that's a lot. Like if I told my dad that I spent that much on food a day, he would disown me. He would tell me, lick him up, he might get in bed and whoop my ass. Do you get? Now, am I going to get to the point of a Lambo? I don't know, right? I don't know, but we are going to find out. I'm not going to say yes, then don't get there. I don't know, genuinely, but we are going to find out. I hope so, though. I hope so. I like the SVJ. It's such a sick mom. So back to what I was saying. You should be able to protect yourself from going mental tilt. Mental tilt is what? A point where you really don't care. And the thing is this: you can't tell when you are in that point. It's only when you come out of the point you'll be like, oh, I didn't care. I didn't really care. Like, I was just trading however the fuck I wanted. I was still following the plan, but I was making error here and there. So say I've taken 3 losses in a row or 4. Right? This trade will look more fancy. This trade will look more fancy for me. And if there was an entry on the 30 minutes, right, I'll be like, oh, let me take, definitely there was an entry. This is an engulfing. I'll be like, oh, let me take it. And I'll put my stop above it and I'll get a loss. Right? That is stupid. I repeat, that is stupid, because first, this was not a good reaction. But now, because I took a loss and I split my risk in half, do you know what that means? That even if I took 5 losses in a row, 5 losses in a row, I would only lose 2.5%. That's how insane it is. Now you'll be like, that's not a lot. That is a determining factor if I go tilt or not. Right? Because if I look at my P&L at the end of the month after taking 5 losses and I see I'm minus 2.5, I'll be like, yeah, it was a tough month, but that's not a lot of loss on my P&L. But if I check my P&L and I see minus 5%, it's going to have a deeper effect on me. And I don't want that. I don't want to go on tilt. Right? So what do? I stick to my plan. Now that I'm back to break even, I took a loss, -1. I took a win here. It was supposed to be 2%, but because I was protecting myself, it's now 1%. Now my -1 plus 1, I'm back to break even. Now on the next trade, I can risk full 1%. This is just how it is. This is just how it is. Now, I'm taking my time to explain these things, and some people are not going to take it serious. Some people are going to take it serious, whatever. This is my 6th year doing this, and I'll tell you one thing. Take the goddamn advice and stop thinking you are special or you are different. You can risk 5%, you can't. Or you can risk 10%, you can't. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, you can't. Trust me. Imagine taking 5 losses on only 5%. That's 25% of your account. You dare not. You dare not. So, in this trade, back to break even, get another sell, which I was looking at this zone. I was looking at this zone because of the tap clean reaction. Now the tap was not immediate. This blue candle didn't tap, there was a little bit of space. We had a clean push, that was space. That was this space, which I love seeing. Then price came here, and then price broke the high. So on the 30 minutes, there was no entry because I was looking at it. Then here, price broke. Now, what do? I wait. I don't do anything. I what? I wait. The only zone that I'm looking at currently is, remember, I need 2 touches. Anything more than 2, I don't mess with it, right? It's this guy. We've already had clean push. If price makes it here and gives me an engulfing, I'm going in, stop above, aiming from 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2, depending on how price moves, right? And that's how simple I trade. And I've been profitable for a while, right? So stick with it. Hit the like buttons, hit the subscribe button. Stay safe. Love your girlfriends. Yeah. Cute human beings. Peace out. Lick him up.